Hello, am I audible? Please confirm in the comments. Hey, hi Dinesh, can you please confirm whether I am audible or not? Okay, so sorry for the inconvenience, guys. I was facing some network issue, so I have resolved it now. So I'll start from where we stop. So it is the listeners which shows you all the activity which you are going to perform inside your test plan. So 5 users and I will run this test for 1 second, and for the one iteration loop count will give you. So moving forward, I'll come to the main topic. What is API testing and how we can perform it with the JMeter. So everyone is aware about the APIs. Like I said that we have a Postman. We have a Postman for the functional testing of the API. So let's see how we can use JMeter for the performance testing of the APIs. So for that we'll require some APIs. So we will find some dummy APIs available on the Google. Let's search for some dummy APIs. See, there are lots of APIs available which are free, which you can use for the practices. Okay, so I use these APIs available. See, so when it comes to the API, we have a lot of operations like get operation, delete, patch, etc. So we'll start with this one. Let's see how get API we can use. So this is the response. When I am opening it into the browser, it will look like this. Okay. So this is my JMeter home. So I'll delete it for now. We are done with the basics. So how to perform API testing? So you must be knowing that for the API testing, we'll require some headers where we can configure some like a content type and a JSON type. Let me add the header manager, and we will get that header manager into the config element. See, this is a HTTP header manager. Like we have in a Postman, we configure that content type, accept, it should be JSON application, right? So this is where we can add it. So let me add similarly here. First I'll configure my header. The content type should be application JSON application JSON. Accept, no need, but still let's define. I defined this header manager here. Let me clear this one. So where to put that API body? Let me add one HTTP sampler here. In the HTTP sampler, see this body data is there. Go to the body data, keep your whatever body if you have, just keep it. If you are just performing a GET request, then no need to put a body. And let me take the URL for this and path. Let's go to our dummy API for the GET operation. See, I'll take this main URL, which is the base URL from here. Just keep it here. As I said, the further thing, no need to add HTTP here. Path we can mention here. This next path, API version 1 employees. Let's go to this one. This is the API. Let's test this one. I'm hitting the API. See, it is executing. This is because I have configured my test for the 5 users. Let it be 1 for now. I clear. This is my gate. Let me give the name gate here. Okay. So simply I'll run it for the 1 user. Let's see. Yeah. So this is the request, gate request, and this is the response data. If you want, you can check this response data in multiple form. Like we are looking it for a text now. This is a boundary extractor tester, CSS selectors, HTML source formatted, document, JSON, browser. Let's see in a browser. See, the same we are getting here. As we are getting here. Here. This is the one. So this is the simple operation of the gate. It will check for the post one. That will contain your body of the API and all. Let me open this one. Method not allowed. Obviously, we are posting something. We are giving some input to the server. It will not show us anything on the page. So we are nothing but giving an input to the server here. That's why it is not showing us any response or data over here. So let's see how we can do that. This is create for creating the employee or something. Okay, as a name suggests that creating something like we'll have to click. Let's go to the API here, to the details. What is this API for? See, this is the body. I came into the wrong one. Just okay, so this is the post API. Let's go to the detail of the post. Post is nothing but we are giving an input, right? So this will be our body. Let's take this one. First of all, let me add the post API. Again, I will use the HTTP sampler for it. I'll rename it to the post for the convenience. See, this is the post one, which is ready now. Now I'll put the body here. This will be the body. So I'll just make it more readable. Salary page. This is our body. Name we will add, salary and the age. And the operation should be post. Otherwise it will throw an error. Okay. I hope everyone is. Please confirm me in the comment whether you are able to hear me properly now. Please, anyone, give me a flag that yes, yeah, you can hear me and you can able. Thanks, Mr. Sahu. Okay, so I'll continue. So this is the body of the post API. I'll repeat it again once more. Let's complete this activity. So this is the body. So let's take the base URL and the path of this API. If we go to the API here again. So this is my base URL, dummy REST API example.com. Let's remove this part, no need. Let's add the path. The path is create. Take this from here, add here. This is your path. So I just want to test the post one. No need to test get for now. Later we'll execute together. So I'm making this first get as a disable. Now I'll run this API post. Let's see whether we able to create a customer or employee. It is giving me an error. Let's see what is the error. Go to this one, supporting post one restapi.com. Post one create com. Check the header manager. Application JSON. Giving an error. It's not working again. It can be the reason. Name is there, test, salary 23, age 23. Can be there. Let's try this writing here. Request is going well. Still getting on. Okay, I'll have to check why it is not working. Let's not waste the time. We will add some more APIs. Make it disable for now. Let's see, check if it is working or not properly. I'll have to make this enable to run the get one. See, it is working. We are getting a response here. No. Or maybe it is already existing one. Let me change the data. Test 21 2, salary 2, age 8. Yeah, ID. Yeah, I was making a mistake here. ID should be there. Keep it 2000 something. Let's try hitting this one now. Post enable. Let's run it again. It has been executed. Post is still giving an error. Okay, let's not waste the time. I'll get back to you with this. I'll give you the comment later why I was facing an issue. Let me resolve it later. Let's not waste the further time. So this is the API. So I can execute it for the 5 times or many times, whatever you want, but there is a limit. So let's see how we can generate a report from it. So this is the thing which I showed you from the front end, but it's a process. From this command prompt we can run the test plan, and there we can have the different metrics like response time, transaction per minute, latency, elapsed time, these factors over there. So how to generate this report? So there is a command which is available. Let me start with that. Later I'll explain you that report first. Okay, so I'll make the configuration and run it for the 5. Let's run it. Get, this is the environment variable dollar. Fine. So now for this basic example we'll create a report. For this basic example we will create one report, HTML report so called, and the JTL file, this JMeter text log. So whatever the execution log we'll get, we will save it into the JTL file with the .jtl extension. Let me save this one. It's already saved as a demo1.jmx at my desktop. I'm opening the command prompt now. So to execute your JMeter test plan, you'll have to go to your bin directory first. So for that, mount your bin folder of the JMeter. See, I'm going to the Apache JMeter folder. Inside that we have bin folder. So this is a bin folder of my JMeter, and this is where I'll mount my bin folder. Now we are good to go with the command. So that command will be JMeter. This is to open your .bat file of the JMeter. So since I'm gonna execute it in a non-GUI, for the non-GUI I'll use -n, and the path will be of my JMeter JMX file which we have created test plan. See, this is the file of our API test plan. I'll take the path of this file, JMeter, put it here. That is the demo1.jmx. Later, as I told you, we will save the execution log into .jtl file. For that, -l, and better we'll keep it here. We have created one folder. Let's create one more folder for the report. See, so this is where we will store our JTL file. Make sure while storing the JTL file, while executing it, will the system's JMeter application will search for the folder which will be empty. Otherwise, it will throw you an error. So make sure that whenever you are executing and you are heading for the report generation, then it should be empty. So for the JMeter, I'll keep this folder empty for the JTL file. So I'll go back here. I'll copy this path so that I can put it into my command. Okay, so this is where I'll put my JTL file, so test.jtl, and okay, I'm gonna take a pause for a minute. If you guys have any question, please do let me know in the comment. Please post your questions. Okay, so I'll continue with it till the time you can post it. So the next, we have given a JMeter JTL file path. So this is where our JTL file will store. So now time comes for the main report. So I told you for the different matrices we should have reports, pie chart, graphs. Okay, for that we have -e, -o, and again I'll create one more empty folder. Make sure it should be empty again. My HTML report. Go inside that report and that's it. So do you have any questions so far? Let me check. So let me execute this one. See, the process has started. Created the three successfully. I am allowing it access. Allow access. Security alert. Tidying up. See, this is the execution log. Created the tree successfully using my demo1.jmx file. Then it is starting the execution for the 5 users I have mentioned in the thread group. Again, after that, just tied. Okay. So now we will go back to our folder whether we were able to create a report or not. Let's see. See, we have got our JTL file and the HTML report. Let's see the execution log. Was it? Edit with Notepad++. See. So this is what giving us the information. They see we are getting a 200 OK success we got. We ran it for the 5 users. So each user sent the request properly. So this is the execution log. You can see in the JTL file. JTL file is nothing but your Java text log. So now we will move to the HTML report. So this is the big one. See, this is our execution report. Here you can see the statistics. Request summary 100% success rate. This is the label request 1, get 1, get 2, get 3, get 4, get 5. As I have ran it for the 5 users. So each request sent by the user, the number of requests sent is 1. Total sample were 5. This is the error percentage 0 we got. This is the average time we receive from the server. Minimum, maximum. From the all the time, minimum time is this one, maximum this one. Since we have sent it for the one, so it is considering the minimum maximum as the same. Since we have sent it for the one time. See, this is the 90 percentage, 95%, and 99%. There is a lot of confusion in the market. Many people not able to tell you the perfect what is this 90%, 95%, 99%. So this is distribution statistics, you can say. If we want that how our test ran for the 90 percentile, so we will remove the 10%, we'll keep the 90% data with us. The 10% will be the smaller one, 90% will be the more preferable, and out of that 9% we'll sort that order, and the maximum one we will consider. So this is how we'll take it for the 90%, and same for the 95, 99%. So any questions so far, guys? Is there any programming way to set up API calls, or we can set only from GUI? Question in JMeter. Gaurav. Oh, you can set your APIs like let me show you. See, you can trigger your test plan. There are a lot of options. If you want to configure a lot, you have a lot of APIs. First, add the HTTP sampler for that. Add your body, and you can also automate this one. You can link up with your Selenium. Since for that we have a lot of options like go to test plan. I can show you some options are there. See, we want to run it like automate it, then you can use the CI server tools like I have created one .jmx file for now. If I want to automate, I can use the Jenkins as a CI server tool where I can configure the job, and I can run this test performance automation over a night as well by giving cron expression and all. And apart from that, if you want to modify something, then we do have options here, like you can add preprocessor, postprocessors. Here the way you can add the bin shell preprocessor. So here we can add whatever code we want to apply in order to manipulate the APIs. Like we have postprocessor. If we want to fetch some data from the response of the API, we can use this bin shell postprocessor and can add the necessary code in order to fetch the response code which we have received from the API. So this is how. I hope you are clear, or you are not satisfied with the answer, Gaurav. So this is how we can, I mean, set up a call. So GUI means you'll have to, if you are making a test plan, then you have to open the JMeter application, and inside that you can put the your APIs. So if you want to add some APIs which are interdependent, so that I mean the input of the second API will take the output from the first API, then you can do that as well, because we have a lot of things like, see, this is the post processor. If I go to the post processor, there is a expression extractor, regular expression extractor. You can use this regular expression extractor at any request. You can extract any value, and you can store it into any variable you want. See the name of the variable. I have added one regular expression extractor, so that whenever the get will execute, so regular expression will fetch the needed data. So this is where we will store our variable, and we'll put the regular expression. Template ID will be like from which group, like there will be a group, right? Uh, we are writing some expression, so there will be a lot of group for that expression, like for one group, two group, three group. So from which group you want to choose your specific value. You can put here as a $1 by default. So mostly people write an expression from where they'll get the specific value, and it will be in your group 1. So they'll put it here as a $1, and match it should be 0, otherwise leave it, no issue, and run it. Then you'll get the data whatever you want. So let me come back to the HTML report. So there is no programming way. So there is no programming way like Selenium. Gaurav, when it comes to the API testing with a JMeter, you have to write a test plan. But if you are, we can even automate our Selenium script here. Like I said, the bean shell is there. So using that, we can do that. Yeah, but there's no like totally programming. No. So the better way, just put your API body into the HTTP and use it the best way. And the Mahesh question is, how can we use the response of one API in a request? Response of one API in a request for another API. Let's say response of get in another post. Okay, so this is how I explain you, right? The regular expression extractor. We have a regular expression extractor. So there are the concept preprocessor and postprocessor when you see here. So preprocessor, any action you want to perform before executing any API call, and the postprocessor, any action you want to perform after the call execution. So after the call execution, definitely we'll gonna get the response. So we will use the postprocessor to fetch the data from the response. So let us see this regular expression extractor is here, as I said. So I'll pick any variable. So we don't have currently we don't have a API, so that interdependent API to show you guys, so that otherwise I have to show you that one. So now this is the variable expression, like I can fetch. Let's see how I can do that. Let me show you how to configure this one. First I'll have to run the, make it disable. Oh, and the one, so run it first of all. So from this response we'll fetch the data, the response body. This is the response body. So let's see how we can do that. If you want to take example, let me show you. Makes it let's make it enable. I'll keep one variable. Just assume for now that we have second API which is fetching, which will require some input from the output of the first API. So I'll write the expression for it. Let's check. I'll go to my this one. Now if I want to fetch some value from the response, then I'll check whether which one is the good one. See, there are lots of value. Let me check the specific and the good value. Employee name is there, the unique one I'm looking for. See, you want the value. This is a perf test JMeter. Then I'll make it as a regular expression extractor. It's consume. So you should be knowing the regular expression extractor terms when it comes to the expression dot star question mark. So this expression will allow me to fetch the value whenever okay, just one second. Variable, let's go to the response again. Since we have common employee name, okay, so there are a lot of employee names, so whenever I'll run that expression I'll get the lots of value. So I'll check something more like let's see the different example. Hmm, this response is not that good. This is as since this is the dummy API. Okay. Hmm, let's take this one. Let's see which value it gives. I think it should work. 23 23 dot I hope star and question. Let's see how many 23 is there. First, let's check. It's not getting. Let's execute this one. The first group should be the process. Get one has executed. We will add one debug sampler here. Since there is no interdependent APIs, it is not possible for me to show you guys the exactly how it should work, so that I'll be able to fetch the value from one API's output and can use it as input to the next API. So this is the overview, but that is the doable and achievable part. How we can do that? That the regular expression extractor is there. We have to write some expression so that we can take some value and can store it into the variable, and we can use this variable to the next API. Wherever the next API call will be there, we can use it this var as a variable, and we can fetch the value whichever will be there from the specific response. Or so let me just run it for the one time how it works. This is a debug sampler which you can use, that which kind of request we are sending, and if any error comes, then it helps you to troubleshoot that error. It gives you an information that where we are facing an error. This is how. So any other questions so far, guys? See, this is a debug sampler. I fetch the value. It was 23, right, before? Yeah. So this is dot star question mark in the debug sampler. I in the regular expression extractor I defined one variable var, and in the debug sampler, if I go see the response, we are getting a variable as a 23. So whenever there is a interdependent API, whenever I'll call the next API call, I can use this variable so that the 23 value I can use in the next API. So this is how we can communicate among the API. Also, there's a term like parameterization and correlation. That is a different part and easy. In order to maintain the session of the execution, we have to implement these things, correlation and parameterization. So if we want, we can have a different big session for this one. So any other questions so far, team? How would I do authentication via JMeter? Let's say I need to authenticate first, and after that only I can do a get or post API calls. Authentication. Okay. For that we do have a provision authentication. Just go to the thread group, add sampler. Sorry, this is a logic control, lot of logic controllers. See, if controller is there, transaction controller, loop controller, while controller, you can write your logic. So whatever authentication logic you have, like you can select anyone. Like if it is if, then you can write your logic here to authenticate the thing, and you can keep it over here. Before executing any request, it will check and then it will move for the next call. So there are a lot of controllers. Let me go through each and everyone. I'll give you basic information. See, for the sampler, I'll go from the first one, sampler. Flow control action is there. Flow control action sampler, HTTP. The most one we will use is HTTP sampler. No need to use the anyone else. Like debug sampler is there. Like I used where you saw that variable values and all which we are getting in the response. Okay, so JSR sampler is there. Like, yeah, but when it comes to the JDBC request, you can use the JDBC request sampler. Let's see how it looks like. You can add your query, what do you want to execute, you want to fetch from the database. You can put it over here, like parameter value, variable name, if there are any. This variable name is, I'll show you. See, the JMeter is like an ocean. If I tell you everything, it will take a lot of time, but I'll try to cover most of the thing right now. So let me go through one by one. Okay. Yeah. So these are the sampler JDBC requests for the database connectivity we can use. For the TCP protocol, we have this sampler. For the Java request, Java, if you want to write any Java code, want to access your server, then you can do that either by selecting this sampler. So these are the bin chain sampler is there. Same for the coding part, you can write the code and can send it as a request to your server. Next is your logic controller. Like you said, how you can perform the authentication. So in that case, you can use this if controller where you can write your code. You can things the get authenticated, and then you can put the next request like API request. Then you can allow the next thing. If it fails, then it will not execute the next API. So this is how this controller works. If controller, transaction controller is there, loop controller, while controller is, it is same as we use in our programming. If controller, while controller is there, for each is there, interleave is there, include controller is like how we can use our script, like reusability factor is there in object oriented programming languages. So this is how we can use the same reusability factor using include controller. If we want to perform same call again and again, then just put it into the include controller and use in the script. Random controller, this controller helps you to execute the API or any request randomly. Recording controller, yeah, the JMeter gives you an option to record your actions. and later you can modify it using correlation and parameterization in order to make the session maintain. Runtime controller is there, simple controller, just the normal one, throughput, switch controller. So as I told you, preprocessor, any action you want to perform before any request, use the preprocessor. Like we haven't used, there was no use or no need. These parsers are there, JDBC preprocessor is there. JDBC preprocessor is again like if you want to do some modification into the database while serving while sending any request, you can put it as a preprocessor and can make changes into the database. Regex user parameter bean shell preprocessor will do the same. Post processor, like the most usable factor from the post processor is your regular expression extractor, like we used now. We saw that how we got that 23 number as a specific value and we used in a variable. Is a debug post processor. So many of it there is no use. Whenever you will have a need, you can go search and can use it in your project test plan. Assertions are there. Assertions you must have. Yeah, so you might be knowing that, so why we use assertion for the validation purpose as well. So let's see, we can put one assertion like a response assertion. We will check. I'll show an example. This is the response assertion. Okay, so I'll pick something from the response, where from the gates response. Okay, I want to check whether I'm getting this value or not. 16021. Let's see. I'll put it into the response assertion. See, text response I have considered. I have just added it. Let's check it whether we are getting it or not. Okay, let's run this one. I will remove the unnecessary part again. How the response assertion will be helpful for you for validating the API response. So this is how now how we'll come to know that it work or not. So let's change the value of the response assertion. I will enter something like what I can say, like Samsung 1234 something else. Let's validate now. So my response assertion will try to check for this string into the response of the gate. Let's see. It should not pass. I think this that value should not be there. It will give me an error. Let's see this one. We got an error. We are getting this string in a read format. So the error was there because there's no such a string available in the response of the gate one. So this is how we can achieve the assertion thing in the API test plan. So also there are other assertions as well. Response code is there, message response headers are there. Okay, and where you want to check the response, like in the main sample only, like this is the sample. So we are checking this string in the response of this sample. So we have selected this one, main sample only. And you can also manipulate this thing over here, pattern matching rules. Your string should contain this one, or a substring should be your Samsung one, or it should be equal to this Samsung 1234 matches, and not, or all the rules you can apply here. Any questions so far, guys? So this is how we can use the assertion. So assertion is nothing but the post processor, since we are using it after the execution part of the API. So it is your post processor. So let me check the other way. What is there to tell you more, you guys? Like, so this is the post processor which we will use most. This regular expression extractor. Also the JSON extractor is there. Path extractor, JDBC post processor. Timer is there. So this is a very cool concept in a timer. We can manipulate the time of the execution. So this is a constant time precise throughput timer. The constant timer, we will when we apply the constant timer, so each request will serve for that, each people will wait for that xyz time we mentioned in the constant timer, then it will trigger. Let me show you the synchronizing timer, how it works. Okay, so I'll add one more sampler here to show you guys how synchronizing timer works. I'll add one HTTP request, that is www.google.com. So this is the just simple Google request. Okay, request to. Okay, no, I'll just keep it like request to, and let me use the variable environment variable so that we can see the execution order. The dollar. So I will run it for 3 users. Let's see how it works. I will disable this response assertion, otherwise it will fail. Disable. We'll disable the debug sampler. Let's run this. How it is running now. See how it is running. Gate 3, gate 1, gate 2, request 3, 1, 3, randomly it is running, right? So we will add more users like 10, make it more precise. Okay, see this is how it is working. So what it will do, synchronizing timer. I have added the synchronizing timer. What happens when I don't use synchronizing timer? Let's make it. Thereafter I'll tell you the difference. See, when we don't use synchronizing timer, so means is that, like, first, if you are not using the synchronizing timer, then JMeter will trigger the request randomly. So it is not triggering the request in an order. Like first it is sending the get request, then the request 3, it is sending request, then get 1, get 8, get 2. Again it is sending the request 1. So but if you want to send the 10 requests at the same time, like the get request, the 10 get request will be sent for the first time. So after completion of this 10 trigger, we can trigger the next request, like this next request 1 to 10. Like it is now randomly executing. And now I'll make it enable. Just make it enable. So this is randomly they were executing previously when we were not using the synchronizing timer. What happens when we add the synchronizing timer? Let's see how it works. See, first all the guest requests will be sent. Later it will wait. Then all the next request, like from the request 1 to 5. So this is how we can use the synchronizing timer. Let's move to the next timer. This is how you use. So some coding part is there. If you want to add some coding, then JSR223 timer is there. Green shell timer is there. So it will work on the code you have written. Fragment config element. Config element, like I used HTTP header for my API part. Same you can use JDBC connection configuration you'll require, where you will add your JDBC configuration like the server IP, then port number, username and password of your database. So this is how it will work. So these are the components of the JMeter needed one. Yeah. So any questions so far? Actually, the I have just deflected from the main topic, like the API testing, which I have covered by executing the HTML report. But there's a lot to learn with this JMeter. Any questions so far, guys? Yes, yes. You can run it from your local host. I haven't tried it, but yeah, we can, because the JMeter requires where it can make a contact. So if your JMeter is able to contact with your local, then definitely we can make our local system as a local server, and we can ask our JMeter to perform likewise. But it is doable and it works. Any other question, guys? But there are a lot of things available on the internet. You can use the dummy things, dummy servers are there, dummy applications are there for testing, and a lot of study material available on the internet where you can go and can start the JMeter. This is what I did today, is just the start how you can start with the JMeter. It's not rocket science. It is very easy when it comes to the performance testing JMeter tool. Otherwise, the other tools which are the paid license or load runner, they are very costly. We cannot buy it, but still you can download the trial version of the load runner neoload for the testing purpose, which gives you the 30 days of trial, or it gives a limit of the user, like up to 50 users you can run the test in the load runner and all. But there is no such a limitation in the JMeter, since it is a open source community. It is very good for the testing purpose. Lot of things are there. We can do the mobile testing using JMeter. Again, we can do the distribution testing. We can create multiple nodes, and on that nodes we can run the JMeter scripts. Everything is doable on the JMeter. If you think that something is not possible, then we can make it possible with the help of JMeter. Since we have a large community in a JMeter, they can come and can design the scenario which you think is impossible, and then they can make it possible. So the JMeter is very good. But the big companies, like they are having the billions of users for their product, they don't use the JMeter because they find the other tools like LoadRunner and NeoLoad useful, since it gives you the more compatibility, and in terms of the number of users. And the one more factor I want to tell you is monitoring tool. Yeah. So performance, we have done the performance testing, but what next? There comes the factor performance engineering. We have just created one report. Now let's people analyze that report, and they find the bottlenecks that where our application is lacking. So accordingly, they perform the performance engineering and reverse engineering kind of activity. So how to know this bottleneck? So if you want to know the bottleneck, like we have to install some monitoring tools at the server side, at our firewall load balancer is there. So this is where we can put the monitoring tool, so that while serving your customers or client request, those monitoring tools will analyze that how your server is behaving under XYZ load. So this is how we can check, and later we can check for the bottlenecks, whether we are facing some network problem, or database query is not that much efficient to serve your request. This is how they trigger trigger out the things, and they reshape their application. There's a lot to learn about a JMeter. If you want, you can have the any other time the different session, like for the load runner and all. I hope this session was helpful for you guys. I'll be here for next 5 minutes. Please ask me any questions. Then I'll go offline. Later you can ping me any question in the personal chat, or you can email me. This is my personal email ID. You can reach out to me anytime. I'll try to get back to you. So any questions so far? 5 minutes, please ask. You can now start downloading the JMeter. It's not that a big rocket science. You just have to Google JMeter, download the zip file, extract it, and start with the basics things that we have done so far. And if you face any issue, let me know. So while configuring the JMeter, you'll have to set some Java path if you are facing some problem while executing the script in non-GUI mode. Let me know, or do ping me in a personal. Okay, guys, I'm going offline. Thanks the Taste Track group for giving a platform. It's a very nice group to share the knowledge we have to help the testers. So do thank you so much, guys. Thank you.